30 seconds.
To ask the Minister for Children and Youth Affairs if she has given consideration to the recommendation of the report by Thor, which was launched only 2 weeks ago, Unmarried Fathers in Ireland and Examinations of the Barriers to Shared Parenting, and if she would be supportive of a strategy for the unmarried parents in the shared parenting responsibilities.
Thank you, Deputy. I welcome the research report prepared by Traer, which highlights the unique circumstances that unmarried fathers face in sharing parental responsibility. The report makes a number of recommendations which are currently under review by my officials. Under the National Planning Framework, Better Outcomes, Brighter Futures, we identified the importance of supporting parents as one of the 6 transformational goals that are central to delivering best future for children and their families. As a constituent part of BOBF, my department published the high-level policy statement on supporting parents and families in 2015. That statement set out the policy agenda for parenting and family supports. It recognizes the diverse range of family configurations in Ireland and the need for supports to be inclusive of all family forms so as to be effective. In addition, I'm pleased to confirm that, as promised in First 5, my department recently established a dedicated parenting support policy unit, which will lead out and coordinate the direction of parenting support policy and activity across government departments and state agencies. The unit will continue to progress the department's engagement with stakeholders, building on the parenting support stakeholder group and subsequent open policy debate held in May of this year. Given the extent of existing policy under the high-level statement and First 5, I have no plans to publish a separate further strategy on parenting. I believe the area is well addressed under our current strategies. But I very much support the focus of the Trora report. I acknowledge that much of the research to date on parenting arrangements has focused on divorce and separation after marriage, but by exploring how unmarried parents who are now no longer in a relationship can be supported to maintain shared parenting where it is in the best interest of the child, this report provides a valuable new insight. It reaffirms my belief that the diversity of parenting arrangements needs to be recognized in policy and service development, and my department will continue to place the real-life experiences of children and their families at the core of the work.
Thank you very much, Minister. Deputy, 1 minute.
Thank you, Minister, for your response. At the outset, I need to acknowledge the financial involvement, the Community Foundation of Ireland, because they provided for the funding for this report to be done, and acknowledge the work of Ms Kiley and Robert Bolton in completing the work. And what came out at the day of the launch was, it was harrowing to hear parents, their own experience, and in particular one gentleman spoke, and he spoke about the fact that as an unmarried dad, he had no rights to the child's report card. If his child got sick while the mum was away, he had no right to actually sign her medical records. So 34% of all children in this country that are born are not born, they're born to single parents, a mum and a dad. But the dad's right is totally and utterly undiminished. And young dads don't realise under guardianship, they don't have the right to that information. And that's why I'm asking you in relation to a specific strategy to create the awareness to signpost their rights. And that would be the start, Minister.
Minister, 1 minute.
Thank you, Deputy, and I also acknowledge the extraordinary work of the Community Foundation of Ireland. I share that with you. I think, you know, what you raise and the example of that gentleman and other unmarried fathers, that is important. I guess what I am saying, and I am saying back, it's great that we have that report. It's laid that out, and because of that, then that we have clearly in terms of research that the strategies and the work that are already being developed will take account of that and incorporate that, and I will ask them to look at how is it that they can incorporate attention to that in the context of what they are already doing. I think, secondly, may I say that, you know, another example in terms of the work of my department and our support, a way of ensuring that separated or parents, particularly fathers, are able to have access to their children. I think the Deputy is aware the time for us that is within your own constituency, and that we have committed in the 2019 estimates additional funding of €100,000 in order to ensure that its service continues to provide a play center for children to meet with their parents in situations where one parent does not live in the family home.
Final comment, Deputy.
Minister, and yes, I want to acknowledge the support that your department has given for Time for Us, absolutely, and they play a huge role within my county, Time for Us. But going back to what your department, while you're developing all the strategies, is a cross-departmental approach, even from the Department of Justice, okay, the Department of Education, the Department of Health, the Department of Social Welfare. Like, we have to sort of work in a way where we can change the language as well, because the language that is used in all these departments is a barrier for the unmarried parent. But I'm talking specifically about the unmarried dad here today, because of the fact they don't realise what rights they don't have till it is too late. And that's the information that we're struggling to get out there to the unmarried dad at this moment in time. They don't realise it till it's far too late, that they have no rights at all. And that's why I'm asking your department with the strategy. But even if we don't have a strategy, just working across departments. The Law Reform Commission made a report recently to enable some of this work to be introduced.
Final comment, Minister.
That's really excellent points, Deputy, and I again will bring those back to the department. As the Deputy knows, the First Five strategy is a whole of government, is a cross-department, and it is within that context I've been answering that new strategies and supports for parents will operate. And so you're right, we do need to take a look at cross-department. And I share with the Deputy the concerns of those fathers and the need for the support of the state in new ways than we have done before. And I do think ultimately, if we can find those ways, what they are, and the research report offers us some evidence in terms of how to help us to do that, that will enable ultimately the kinds of equalities that we're looking for between women as well as men, particularly in the context of parenting, where we need to be, I suppose, where we need that equality and the sharing of caring responsibility to enable us to work, men as well as women, in the public as well as the private sphere.
Thank you very much.